There's some news out of Los Angeles that could help and affect the Detroit Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is, in fact, your team every day. Matt Dery with you. It is Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Coming up on the program today, Trevor Thompson, the host of the Bleav in Lions podcast, the legendary sideline reporter, host for many years for the Wings and Tigers, among other things. Going to join us on the show today. Stop by and talk about OTAs Week 3, the Lions offseason, and so much more with Trevor Thompson coming up. Locked On Lions today, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The biggest stage in world soccer is here. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. All right, let's get started with a quick note before we get Trevor on the show from what is going on in Los Angeles with the Rams. And the reason why I'm going to bring up the Rams, and I'm going to bring up the Rams a lot this offseason as we get ready for training camp and everything else for the Lions, is that the Los Angeles Rams are one of the biggest threats to the Lions' chances in the NFC. All right. I think the Lions are going to have a pretty good year. I like the Lions' schedule. I like the Lions' roster. All right. Division's going to be tough. All these things come into play. And there's some really good teams, especially out west in the NFC. They're going to pose a major threat to the Lions. One being, of course, the Super Bowl champion, defending champs, the Seattle Seahawks. Niners are always good, right? And, of course, the Los Angeles Rams, who recently brought in, and they'll double click on this, Myles Garrett. And there's talk that maybe Aaron Donald comes out of retirement. But today, some news that is really bad for the Rams that could help benefit a team like the Lions, and that is that their left tackle, who before last season got a brand spanking new 3-year, $57 million deal, the pride of Detroit himself, Alaric Jackson, arrested overnight on suspicion of domestic battery. That according to the LAPD. The 6'7", 338-pound O-lineman was arrested at around 11 o'clock out in LA after police were called to his home. When cops arrived, they learned that Jackson and a woman had gotten into a verbal argument. Turns out she was videotaping him or something on her phone. He was trying to grab her phone. And in fact, there were major scratch marks on her arms. Jackson was then arrested for felony domestic battery and later released on $50,000 bail. If you recall, 2 years ago, before the 2024 season, Jackson was suspended 2 games as well by the NFL for violating its personal conduct policy. He is a repeat offender. So when you talk about Alaric Jackson, again, the pride of Detroit Renaissance High School, born in Windsor, this is a good football player and a 27-year-old left tackle that is an excellent blindside protector of Matthew Stafford. I don't know if these charges are going to be dropped. I don't know if he is going to be arraigned. I don't know if he's going to serve time. None of that. All right. This was an arrest and a release. Nothing since. All right. So with that being said, this could force the Rams to not have their left tackle to start the season. Alaric Jackson's a good player. But again, this is strike number 2 against him for personal conduct. And the league will take a look at this once all of the evidence is out there and once there are any charges pressed and filed, and if there's any more arrests or anything else. This is a guy that's been with the Rams now for 6 years and is a good player. So with that being said, you got to have your offensive. When the Rams are good, all right, when the Rams won the Super Bowl a few years ago with Matthew Stafford and a very good offensive line led by guys like Andrew Whitworth. Then remember, the Rams took a little bit of a step back because they couldn't protect Stafford and they couldn't run the football. Then they've rebuilt that offensive line with guys like Jackson and Steve Avila and others. So if he's out for an extended period of time or suspended or anything else, that is a big blow to that Rams team. Think about the Lions going into the season without Penei Sewell at left tackle. You wouldn't want that. Also, part 2 to this story is if Jackson's out a while and is unavailable, would the Rams consider Taylor Decker, who, of course, is sitting on the sidelines, as we talked about yesterday, and awaiting a team to make him an offer? You could put Taylor Decker out there in LA to play with his former teammate, Matthew Stafford, and I'm sure Decker would be very, very consistent and solid for the Rams. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. But Jackson's solid, and that would be a big loss for them if he's out for any extended period of time. And again, it's an arrest. And then we await now on investigations and everything else. And he's been released on $50,000 bail. He's not being held at the moment. All right, OTAs week 3 are underway. The Lions will allow the media in to watch practice on Thursday, and Kelvin Shepard, defensive coordinator, is going to speak. We'll discuss all of that on Thursday, but we'll get into week 3 of OTAs and everything with the Lions and what is going on with the legendary Trevor Thompson of the Bleav in Lions podcast. Trevor hosts that with Glover Quinn, the former Lion, and occasionally does that show solo as well. We've been on the show before with Trev, and he is going to join us coming up next here on a Tuesday edition of Locked on Lions. And support for today's episode comes from Square, the business platform that helps sellers become neighborhood favorites. Whether you're gearing up for a busy season or just trying to keep up with everyday demand, Square keeps your business running smoothly. From payments to online orders, inventory, staff, and more, all in one place. You can focus on your customers, not your to-do list. Square helps businesses simplify the day-to-day while still giving them room to grow. All right. Think about all the businesses that you go to and you see those little square boxes and you swipe your credit card there. It's just easy, hassle-free. And for owners using Square, you're not juggling 5 different tools just to take a payment or track inventory. You can actually focus on your customers. And that's what makes a neighborhood favorite like Square. Square helps you run your business more smoothly, bringing payments, operations, and insights together all in one place. You're ready for whatever is next. Right now, listeners can get up to $200 off of Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/lockedonnfl. That is SQUARE.com/go/lockedonnfl. Get started with Square and build a setup that works the way you do with our friends at Square. They are the best. All right, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, the host of the Bleav in Lions podcast. Of course, you saw him for many, many years, whether it was Tigers, Red Wings, whatever. Trevor Thompson is with us on Locked on Lions today. Trev, what's happening?
What a pleasure to be with you, Guy. I really appreciate you coming on my show. And like I told you, you were the first guy that came on when I first got into this thing in the podcasting business with Bleav in Lions. I really appreciated that and the support that you gave me. And it's a pleasure to be on your show, chopping it up with you right here now today. Couldn't be better, Guy. Couldn't be better.
Trev, let's be honest. Let's bring this up right here, right now. The Detroit Red Wings have absolutely sucked since they no longer have you on their broadcast. It is time for the Wings, and I get it. And I understand they got to deal with Dylan Larkin's trade demands, but let's get Trevor Thompson back on the sidelines after games, interviewing the coaches and the players. You were the best, man.
I appreciate
has not been the same without you.
Dude, I got to tell you, that was the time in my life, and those were the teams to cover. That was the era to be there. So what a joy it was to be a part of that ride. But you talk about they haven't been the same. They haven't been the same since they moved into the LCA. We're still waiting for our first Red Wings playoff game in that building. Maybe there's a little curse of the Joe going on here. Who knows? Man. We
got to get Trevor back, so he's down there interviewing Dylan Larkin. Mo Snyder.
I can still lace up the skates. I played at noon today.
Did you?
Twice a week, noon hour skates. They'll get it on Tuesdays and Thursday.
Are you out there with Brad Galley? You should body check.
No, Brad does that morning skate, the Breakfast Club skate with those guys, the Red Wing staff down there. And they go at 6:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I think it's 6:30 on Tuesdays and Fridays during the season. Too early for me, man. Too early. Driving down there that time of day, I didn't know there was that much traffic, man. It's a fight for your life driving down there. So this Tuesday and Thursday skate I'm in is at noon. That's more my speed.
Got it. All right, Trev. So OTAs week 3 going on right now. The media will be allowed in on Thursday, but as far as where the team is at right now, obviously the biggest one is this Kerby Joseph situation.
Oh.
And how do you kind of see this playing out? And did you read through the tea leaves last week like I did from Dan Campbell that this is not good right now?
It's not good. And you just paid this guy to be the best safety in the business. You gave him the most money a safety's ever made. You need this guy on the field. And then you couple that with Brian Branch being out. That is such a huge impact on what these guys want to do defensively. And you're counting on those guys to be 2 key contributors going forward. You're paying them accordingly, and they're not on the field. Now, I understand the next man up mentality, but the next man up isn't quite at that level. And you need guys at that level because you've got questions all over the defensive side of the ball, including opposite of Aidan Hutchinson on the edge. So what are you doing? You just lost Anzalone at linebacker. You paid Jack Campbell. Obviously, you're going to keep that guy around. But like I said, question marks all over your defense right now. And that safety spot, that's a big, big question. So, he seemed kind of cryptic on that. But like you say, if you read between the tea leaves, it doesn't sound good. You're wondering just how long he might be out. But one thing I do look at, Dees, and I'm not sure how you feel about this, is when you look at their schedule, the way they start, it's never easy in the NFL, but they've got some soft matchups early in the season if they can take advantage of those and give these guys a little more time to get healthy and on the field and have an impact as the season rolls on. So hopefully it rolls out that way and they're ready to go by maybe week 5, 6 after the bye and see what happens. But early on, it looks like they're going to try and figure this out with the next man up sort of scenario and see what they've got in the cupboard.
No, I'm with you. And I think Brian Branch likely would start the year on PUP just based off of coming off of his knee injury last year in the leg. And, I like the Christian Izzian pickup and I'm excited to kind of see what he can do. But you're right with Kerby, it's almost like, all right, let's say they start training camp, late July. They're going to try him out day 1. If he could do it, he's out there. If he can't, it could just be we're shutting this down. I don't even know if they would get to a week 4, 5, 6 situation,
And when he put that cryptic message on Twitter last year, like the hands up, just praying, looking for answers, even himself, questioning himself at this point, it's got to be scary for him to wonder what the rest of his career holds, just how debilitating this is going forward for him. Obviously, he wants to be on the field. Obviously, he wants to be a difference maker. Obviously, he's glad to have the money and was respected as far as ownership and management goes to be that guy. He wants to get out there. He wants to be him. But I think he's even questioning himself. And if you've got his coach questioning this as well, that's a big, big, big question mark at a very, very important position.
No, it is. Trevor Thompson with us, host of the Bleav in Lions podcast. You brought up the edge spot, which has been something you and I have talked about for years. Wanham on one side with Hutchinson and even behind DJ Wanham. You and I talked about it on your show. Now you get Derek Moore in the mix. It's interesting, Trev, because in Chicago, I know Locked On Bears host Lauren Cox is always talking about we don't have enough edges. Yesterday, Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers, I saw his show. He's saying the Packers need another edge. Kind of funny. All these teams in the division are all saying the same thing. Maybe the Lions aren't in as bad a shape as the fans and you and me think they are at that edge spot opposite of Hutch.
And I go back to last year with the famous quote by Dan Campbell, "We're good." Yeah. Maybe they are. I guess we'll find out. We're good. Maybe we'll find out going forward just how good they are. And I'm interested to see just what Derek Moore is going to be able to offer at that position. DJ Wanham, I don't know enough about his work to really comment one way or the other whether or not he's going to be the guy that gets the starting nod when the season kicks off officially. It's going to be a great competition to see as that rolls out. That experience certainly will play in his favor. But they obviously need guys to get to the quarterback, but they also need guys that are going to be able to prevent that run as well. So we'll see which one of those two is going to be strongest in that area. So I'm really interested to see when training camp officially starts and when guys get pads on, just how effective both of these guys are in that regard as well.
What did you make of Aleem McNeil's comments that basically admitted I wasn't the same guy last year? I'm forgetting last year. I hated last year, and I'm healthy now, and I've deleted everything from last season. How excited are you? And do you think we'll see the Aleem from 2 years ago and 3 years ago this year?
I hope so, because that guy is a difference maker. That guy is a monster, and I think that that's what he wants to get back to. And as far as that goes, I think there's a lot of players on this team that are going to take the same attitude. Forget about last year. Terry and Arnold needs to be one of those guys. Forget about last year. Forget about the first 2 years, and show up and be the guy that was taken in the first round, the guy that's going to be able to get back there and be an effective difference maker at that cornerback position as well. So I can think of a few guys that might take that same sort of stance. Forget about last year. Forget about what we've seen. Going forward, healthy, going forward with new opportunities, going forward with new guys beside them, and the new guys on the offensive line, new guys on the defensive line, just the new opportunity that it's created in a brand new season, and forgetting about the past. I think that's the best approach to take. I think it's the only approach that you can take, and let's just hope that not only do they take that approach, but it proves to be true with their play on the field. I'm looking forward to watching this guy play, because he's a difference maker for sure, and that experience will certainly bode well for these guys.
I agree, and we did not see the same guy last year. But again, coming back from the torn ACL, I think he kind of admitted it took a while for him to get his sea legs underneath him. You referenced Anzalone being gone. Jimmy Rolder or Malcolm Rodriguez? You have to guess. Who do you think week one? Do you think there's a chance that a fourth-round pick wins that job?
Didn't we all fall in love with Rodrigo during the
Of course.
Hard Knocks days? We all fell in love with that guy. I think he's got an engine that won't quit. I think he's got a passion for the game. I think he's got the identity that this team is looking for. And you just have to believe, with his experience and having been there already, that that's a guy that is going to get every opportunity to lose the job. He's going to have to play himself out of it, in my opinion. So Jimmy Rolder, he might be a great backup. He's going to have to learn, and he'll get an opportunity, no doubt. But I just think going into it, you've got to look at Malcolm Rodriguez healthy again. Another guy who could be saying, forget last year, looking forward, proving what he can do on the field, seizing that job, just taking it by the throat and not letting it go. He'll be pressed. There'll be great competition. And Dan Campbell is on record as saying this is going to be a very competitive camp. So I think it will be in that regard as well. But I do think that that's going to be your guy coming out of camp that has that job. And like I said, holds on and hopes not to ever let it go.
Do we not talk enough about Derek Barnes and the fact that last year was not a great year for him either, and maybe played a little bit out of position?
Yeah, I just wonder, though. I wonder if it's just last year. Is that the player? I mean, but we're talking about a lot of players who are saying the same thing, right? Forget about last year. That wasn't me. I've got to be better. And they do have to be better. Across the board, they have to be better. How you scheme things may help as well. But they've been trying to play next man up for so long now. You really don't know what a guy has. He hasn't been able to seize a position. He's just been moving the pieces all over the chessboard, trying to fill in the holes for all the injuries that this team has had to play through. So if you can get guys in a position consistently and let them play that role consistently and let them be in a role that they're familiar with, maybe you'll get more out of them. But when you're moving all around, or you're really not sure, or the depth isn't there to help out as far as the man next to you goes, then people try to do too much. We've all seen that. People trying to do too much, do another guy's job. Maybe there's some of that as well. So looking forward to seeing guys in their position, having some consistency there, knowing their role. And with Kelvin Shepherd in a second, you're just ironing those things out going forward. I think it might make a difference for all of these guys. And that's another guy that I think we could say the same thing about.
What do you think of the Jack Campbell contract? Obviously, the Lions being very creative with the option bonuses and everything else, but do you feel like that was a decent number for him?
I'm still shocked that he's getting that kind of money and that they consider him to be that kind of player. And he said, I didn't need to be the highest paid guy in the league at that position, but he's right there at number 2. So he's not going to miss any meals. It's a big, big number. Again, an identity guy, a part of your core going forward. These guys have taken care of the guys. We talked about Kerby Joseph. They took care of him. They took care of Aidan Hutchinson. They took care of Penei Sewell. They took care of Amon-Ra St. Brown. They took care of Jameson Williams. They took care of their guys. This is another guy they took care of, and I really think that speaks well in the room. If you're one of our guys, we are going to take care of you. They're going to take care of Jahmyr Gibbs as well. That's going to be next man up. Maybe he makes more than Jack Campbell makes. We'll see which of those contracts ends up being worth the most over the term of the deal. But I love the fact that they paid him. I love his attitude coming into this. His attitude is, I want to prove everybody who believed in me right more than I want to prove other people wrong. He's got the great attitude. He's got the motor. He's got everything you're looking for. He's one of the best at that position. He doesn't miss time. And we've talked about all the injuries. He doesn't miss time. He's there each and every week for you. So he got paid accordingly. I'm looking forward to him living up to that. And you needed to pay him because you needed to keep him. You could not afford to lose him. We talked about that on my show last time you were on. You can't afford to lose this guy. They didn't give him the fifth-year option. We wondered what might happen going forward with that. Well, they did lock him in, and they needed to.
More with Trevor Thompson coming up next. Let's talk about some offense a little bit, the rest of the division as well. And I'll bring up that Rams news that we mentioned before as well with Trev coming up next. But first, Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That's what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. Now, FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every match. With every goal pays, bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. More goals mean more bonus bets. All you have to do is turn on your token. All right. All these things are exciting with the World Cup, including the United States playing. If you're looking for these matchups and you want to get aggressive offensively like teams do with your bets, you can do that, of course, from start to finish with our friends at FanDuel. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. Trevor Thompson with us, old buddy, who has just been a Detroit sports broadcasting legend. I'll say it. And you can check him out on the Bleav in Lions podcast, hosting that show. He and Glover Quinn from time to time. GQ, he's a busy man now, Trevor. What's going on with our
He
with our
really
old
is. He's got his framing business, GQ Frames. He's expanded that. He's doing signs. He's doing his framing. He's doing industrial. He's doing personal. The guy is a one-man gang. So he's had a lot of focus on building his business and continuing to be the entrepreneur and developing that entrepreneurial muscle of his during this offseason. So you'll see a lot more of Glover once we get into training camp and the season kicks off. But during the offseason, guys like yourself have been coming on, helping me out and filling that gap admirably, I must say. And I do really appreciate that. So shout out to GQ, and we'll see more of him real soon.
All right, so the offense, obviously this offseason, the biggest focus was the offensive line. As it stands now with Sewell on the left side, Blake Miller over there, Cade Mays, how drastically different is it and better in your mind than what it was a year ago?
I guess we're going to find out, but I really thought, especially when Frank Ragnow retired, and then you put Graham Glasgow at center, and it just seemed like with the injuries and everything, they were completely out of sorts. And then you had a new offensive coordinator calling plays. That didn't work. Then Dan Campbell started calling plays. So there was just so many things in flux last year when you look at their offensive line, and then trying to integrate Tate Ratledge as a rookie in there. And obviously this is a line where, or in football in general, on that offensive line, experience really is a key factor as far as success goes, as far as chemistry along the line. So you got a lot of new pieces inside, and I'm wondering what that chemistry is going to look like. And then you've got a new offensive coordinator. I'm wondering what that's going to look like. You've got no David Montgomery in the backfield. What's Isaiah Pacheco going to look like? Who's the third guy up if one of those two gets injured? What's that going to look like? So the passing game, there's consistency there, and you've got Jared Goff behind center. How creative are they going to be? We're going to find out. But along that line and with your running game, where is the chemistry? How fast are guys going to get up to speed? How quick is that chemistry going to develop along the line? What's it really going to mean for Penei to move over to the left side? You've got Blake Miller. You've got a rookie. Then you've got Cade Mays coming in his first year in Detroit. How quick can they come together? The experience of some of those guys will certainly help, but how quick can they come together? How quick can this offense develop with a new coordinator and a different backfield? A lot of questions. We keep coming into this thing back to a lot of questions. Defensive side, offensive side, so many things have to play out and be answered, but it's going to be fun to watch it unfold. And when you've got Jahmyr Gibbs back there, certainly you've got an opportunity. He's electrifying. We talked about him getting paid and him being a bell cow right now for this team going forward. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. But when you had Frank Ragnow, he really, really helped that running game along. And I don't think we talk enough about how much he was missed and the impact of that on that offensive line and with this offense. But we'll see what Cade Mays has to offer, what Blake Miller has to offer, what it looks like with Penei on the other side and a new coordinator. All brand new questions, all things we're going to see unfold. But I'm excited to see it. How about you?
No, I am, Trevor. And look, I'm with you. I think if the O-line is fine and it's just better than it was a year ago.
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah,
all
it's
these
better.
weapons, Right. With all these weapons that you mentioned, this should be a top 5 offense again. I mean, obviously the question is going to be defensively, and it always seems to be. But when you got Goff and you got, like you said, St. Brown and J-Mo and these guys, and if LaPorta's healthy, I think they're going to score a ton of
There's
points.
another
You mentioned the
question, right?
schedule before too.
Oh, yeah. There's another question, LaPorta. What are your thoughts on where he's at? Do you think he's going to be 100%? Obviously, he's going to take a little time to get back there. OTAs aren't where we're going to see where he's at, but I'm just wondering where he is at. How do you go about dealing with his contract as well? But that a difference maker and a guy you need healthy. Again, you need these vets. You need these guys that are part of your core healthy in order to be the team you think you are. I don't know if you know anything more about where he's at, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on Sam LaPorta right now.
I like the fact that he did some working out last week, although albeit limited. They're babying a lot of these guys, but I'm with you. I think they want to see where Sam is, because if he's healthy come training camp, the agent's going to call.
Of course,
let's get this done.
That's his job, exactly.
And so, he is such a big part of what they do. And at the end of last season, like you said, after the Washington game, when all of a sudden it's, there's a back injury, he's week to week. All of a sudden he's on IR. They missed him. They just did. There's a big draw. Brock Wright's a good player.
He is, but there's no depth of that position. Let's just face it. There's no real offensive threat as far as that goes.
Not LaPorta depth. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. No exactly. That's a big hole to fill if he's not there.
All right. In the division, how are you ranking the teams right now based on what you've seen this offseason?
I really believe what you said. That offensive line is better this year. And I think that is going to make a difference as far as this goes. I think they're going to have stability at that offensive coordinator spot. I think that's going to make a difference. You still have all the weapons we just talked about. Those guys are elite. So I'm going to have the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North going forward right now. The Chicago Bears surprised everybody last year. They caught lightning in a bottle in a few of those games, pulled a couple rabbits out of the hat in order to win some of those games. I do not see them taking anybody by surprise. First of all, they're going to have a bit of target on their back. Second of all, although it will be Ben Johnson's second year and he'll have a feel for what he wants to do, and they've upgraded in some places as well, I just don't see them doing what they did last year. I see the Minnesota Vikings taking a huge leap as far as what they did last year as the turnaround this year. No one's talking about them. I think that they're going to take some people by surprise. I've got them second in the division right now. I'm not really sold on the Green Bay Packers right now. I've got them last in the division right now. I don't feel it for Green Bay. I just don't feel it for Green Minnesota. Bay. I don't feel it for Green Bay. So I've got the Bears finishing third. I've got the Pack fourth in the division coming out of it this year. And that's the way I see it shaking out right now, if you ask me today.
Wow. All right.
Mixing it up.
You are mixing it up.
You gotta call some shots out here, right?
Yeah, I like that. All right. Final thing. Keep an eye on this. I brought this up before he came on. Alaric Jackson arrested, and that's a big loss for the Rams. If in fact he did, if there was some felony domestic battery things that come to fruition here, could we see a Taylor Decker, Matthew Stafford reunion with the Rams? Keep an eye on that, Trevor. I'm just throwing it out.
I like it. Well, why not throw it out? I threw my my standings out there right now, so why not throw it out? He's looking for a job. I'll bet you his boy will put in a word for him.
Oh, and gosh.
With the move that they made, acquiring Myles Garrett, you've got to go all in. You've got to do whatever you can. And like we just talked about, on that O-line, you need vets. You need experience. And especially if you think you're a Super Bowl contender, you need to lean on experience. So it's an experienced guy that's played alongside your quarterback. Why not? Why not? I like where you're going with it.
Trevor Thompson with us. Find him on the Bleav in Lions podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Great to see you, brother. And we'll do it again soon.
Matt the Diesel Dery, you're the legend, guy. Thanks.
I don't know about that. No, you and I are just a couple of guys here on the mean streets of Southeast Michigan hanging out.
A couple of guys with some gray in our whiskers right here on the chin.
Yes, absolutely. Trevor, good to see you.
Appreciate you, Dees. Thanks.
You got it. There he is. Trevor Thompson with us. Bleav in Lions podcast. Check him out wherever you get your podcasts on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions.